All right, everyone, welcome back to the Business Blast podcast. I'm very excited for today's episode. We have Leonard Burg. He is a soul therapist and vice president of holistic lifestyles and well-being at Greenlight Services Corporation. I'll dive right in, Leonard. The first question I have for you is, what's the best story from your life that has an underlying valuable message?
Well, I think the best story is uh, I was a part of a spiritual group, and I was traveling around the world doing spiritual work. But at a certain point, I felt I wasn't being fulfilled. I wasn't making any money as promised in our development plan. And I also didn't particularly like the way business was being done. So it came to me that I needed to really express my true feelings at the risk of being attacked and criticized and abused by the leader of that group as well as some of the members. But by taking responsibility, instead of blaming them, I took responsibility for the truth that I had, and that truth released me. And I was able to finish my internship with that organization, but I was at peace with myself, and I went on to better things.
And what's the most valuable piece of information we should know that's within your expertise or industry?
As a soul therapist, I've learned that truth heals. Truth is synonymous with consciousness. And consciousness is your connection to that, your essence. And your essence is connected to that which created it. So I learned that this is no less true in business in general, but particularly as a therapist. When you engage people in a process where they're truthful about what they feel, what they think, even truthful about their errors, what it does, it connects them in consciousness to revelations that will help to guide them out of a situation and promote wisdom and healing.
And what's your best piece of overall business advice?
My best piece of overall business advice is it's related to that whole truth and spirit in the sense of mastermind group. I learned that as a holistic healer, we weren't always, some of us are not so savvy in the world of business and making money. And so as a spiritual seeker, I learned that there are great spiritual masters in the world who have great powers. But if a spiritual master had a problem with their car and it broke down, they wouldn't levitate or try to use magic to fix it. They'd go to a master mechanic. So I've learned that in the business world too, that's why I hooked up with Greenlight Services, which is a financial services corporation, wherein they can help me to take advantage of mastership in the area of business and wealth. And I can include the ingredient of spiritual wealth, which I think is at the root of all things.
And if you could give your younger self one piece of advice, what would it be?
My younger self, again, it's related. I was in college as a revolutionary back in the 60s on the campus, often spending more time off campus than on campus. And I eventually burnt out and couldn't graduate, whereas people around me were graduating. Here I was full of service, helping out. And I learned I should have been seeking out a mentor. It's related to the whole concept of mastery. No matter what you're doing, seek out mentors who know more than you. And you don't have to take all their advice, take the best and leave the rest. But let's look at it this way. If you were on an airplane and the oxygen mask dropped down, what are your instructions? Put it on you before you put it on people next to you. You're no good if you're dead. So you're no good if you're giving all this service, but your whole life itself is in ruins.
And in your opinion, what's the key to happiness?
The key to happiness is to forget about being happy and put more emphasis on being at peace. Happiness comes and happiness goes, but peace is eternal.
I love that. And what's the best book you've read, and what was the number one thing you learned from it?
The best book I've read, I don't know if it's the best book, but the book that had the most impact on me, it's a book called Resurrection by Neville, Neville. And in that book, he says that if you were able in this very moment to actually feel how you would feel were your goals to already have been achieved, that acts as a magnet that attracts the achievement of that goal to you. Similarly, he says that be careful of the thoughts that you project to other people, because they can come back to you tenfold. For instance, you have so many people in the country today sending negative thoughts towards Trump, or leftist progressive people sending negative thoughts towards people who you see as oppressive. Well, what Neville says is that if they are capable of being what you project them to be, you only enhance that power, and it comes back and hits you also in a boomerang fashion. So the best thing you could do if you're going to think about them at all, hate the sin, but not the sinner.
And what's your favorite quote and why?
My favorite quote, it comes from Mark in the Bible. It comes from Mark 11:24. And it says, therefore, I tell you, whatever you ask for in prayer, believe that you've received it and it will be yours. Another way of saying that is pray believing that that which you pray for, you already have. This is the key to the Sabbath. And I just go on to say that prayer is more than begging. Actually, prayer is giving thanks for the gift of life, for whatever it is that you have, be grateful for it. Prayer is really being still and listening for your instructions. Because if there is a God, or if there's a higher intelligence, it knows what's in your heart. Our problem is we don't go within and listen and get our instructions and get revelations that would give us the wisdom and reduce our suffering and the healing that would enable us to grow and move forward.
Thank you, Leonard. Very, very valuable episode. Last question I have for you is, where can people best find you online?
They can best find me online, Leonard Burg, B-U-R-G, on Facebook, on YouTube. Those are the best two places now. I'm going to increase my presence, but right there, you can find me there in Facebook, Leonard Burg, and in YouTube.
Perfect. Thanks again for coming on, man.
You're quite welcome. Thank you.
The podcast you just heard was made using Anchor. Ever thought about making your own podcast? Anchor makes it really easy for anyone to get started. It's a one-stop shop for recording, hosting, and distributing podcasts. Best of all, it's 100% free. Sign up now at anchor.fm/new. That's anchor.fm/new to get started.